Good morning, afternoon, evening, wherever you are in the world, and welcome to the Aurorian Age cast with our brand new panel. My name is Death Star, aka NoTouchy in game. I'll be the ringmaster trying to keep this motley crew in line as we navigate the sea known as ArcheAge. I'm joined today by our guild leader Spin.
Who are you calling motley there, matey?
Talking about myself. Yeah, that's it. And Still Breathing.
Hello, guys. How are you today?
Awesome. Oh, I'm doing good. We're going to attempt, since we're all kind of new to this, we're going to attempt to have a fun, informative, and open cast. We want to interact with you, the viewers, and hopefully get you excited about playing the game we're all pretty passionate about still. I'll start with Spin, our illustrious guild leader, and since this is kind of the first time we're doing this, we're going to give you guys a little bit of information about each of us and what we do in the game, and go from there.
Well, I'm here for naval PvP. That's why I got to ArcheAge. And really, we got doing naval PvP and had some fun doing it. And we went through a bit of a crazy time there, and the guild reshuffled. And now I'm spending all my time sort of doing the guild administration, but naval PvP is coming back. We're in a place now where, we've had a big change, but we've got our economy moving again. We're getting to coordinate our crafters and our farmers and our money makers. And once we get that coordinated, the machine of grievance is going to be well on the way. And then I'll have a little more time for naval PvP.
Absolutely.
But for me, it's a little bit of farming, but PvP is what I want to do. How about you, Still?
I am still breathing, your PvE officer. And I've been doing, I guess I've been doing PvE since the game launched. I'm not really a farmer. I don't really fish, although I've started to get into it. So PvE is my thing. I ran you guys through BC. Now I'm doing GHA, and pretty soon we'll be in Serpentis.
Yeah, I can't wait for that. I'm NoTouchy. I'm not anybody of any importance in the guild.
You're our host. Don't say that.
I'm just a game player, button masher. But ever since the big change happened with everything, I guess I took a little bit of a break. Not per se that I wanted to, but just because I'd log in and I'd look at the guild farm and I'm like, wow, kind of getting a little bit sad, a little teary-eyed, looking at the guild farm, seeing where we were. But now I'm starting to see that we're starting to reclaim some of it back and starting to get the machine known as grievance moving along. And so, I'm actually going to start getting back into the game and start actually playing more and being more a part of what's going on. So anyway, all right. So we're going to go into the news, our ArcheAge news for the past, basically couple of weeks. If anyone's been in game and are either new or been playing for a long time, the Siege Scrolls have come up for bid finally in Heedmar and New Amari. The Heedmar scroll was bought by Slayers over on the east side. Their siege was unsuccessful, and they say it was due to the fact that the declaration period had ended 30 minutes prior to the start of the siege, which would really suck to have to pay all that money and then not be able to go forward with your siege. The Heedmar area is run by SSGT, and their scroll was bought by Rising On, and no siege happened. No surprise there. The scrolls for Markala and Calmlands actually should be on the auction house already. It looks like Slayers bought both scrolls and we're waiting on the siege to happen. But with the server issue, with the lag and all the stuff like that happened about a week ago, not even sure what's going on with those things. Has anyone heard anything about how they're dealing with that issue?
They just said they were going to they're going to delay the sieges by a week until they were sorted out. And another note is Lunatico said they were not going to buy their own scroll, and they said they had lots of respect for Slayers for bringing the fight, and they wanted to fight.
So your sergeant.
That's awesome. That's good, because I know that was a lot of concern that they would basically, because they're making so much money, that they would buy their own scrolls, and basically, there would never be any sieges happening up there because, if you have the taxes up to, 150%, and basically your guild is the one that owns the lands, you pretty much can control whether or not you buy your own scrolls or not. So it's good to hear that, at least one of the guilds are willing to allow the game to play out the way it's supposed to play out. So we'll see what happens with that.
Yes, Sergeant Major of the Army.
All right. In other recent news, Friday, 11/21, they announced that farm wagons and costumes are upgradable. Well, at least farm wagon upgrades are on the marketplace. So the farm wagon can now be upgraded to the farm hauler, which can carry 6 trade packs, and they boosted its speed by 1 meter per second. They've also replaced the classic racing kits and the mirror shine racing kits with flashy racing kits. They have 2 other color variants. And finally, the Mirage Elite horse is being taken back to the stable, so to speak. And well, I'm not sure why they're doing that, and it'll be back when they deflea and deticket. Okay. All right. So, and also the servers went down for part of the week due to a bug that someone had found. Tryon and XO Games fixed the bug that caused all the servers to go down. And from what we can tell, and only time will tell, we'll see how it works. I know that I was literally out of the game until yesterday. I was unable to log in at all. And, so we'll wait and see what happens with the compensation that they said they're going to give us all for the downtime. They supposedly already have it listed, but they haven't put it up yet. So any comments on that and how they handled that?
I know that they're saying, I heard a rumor going around today that if you sign on to their website, you get 15 small 500 honor workers' compensation pots. Also, you get a few other things as well, and I think they're giving you 30 loyalty tokens if you're a patron. For the free-to-play members, they get 10 workers' compensation, the 500 ones.
Okay. Yeah, I saw the post on it, but I went to the account page and I didn't see anything there yet to click on. I guess they're going to make it a package that you have to log on to the website to click on and to claim. So, but I haven't seen it yet. They said they're still rolling it out. So I'm hoping that it'll be done in a timely manner. And I think that what they're offering is fairly generous. I think they could have went a little further, especially with the game time, because they're basically giving back the time that you lost, which, I know some people who lost their farms because of the bug that they couldn't get in to be able to pay their taxes. And so I'm not sure if it's actually going to be enough, but we'll have to see. And Spin, what do you think? I don't know how your play experience was, but I literally could not log in from Saturday until yesterday.
Well, I was doing a lot of building up brownie points with the wife, and she doesn't know that the servers were down. She just thinks that I spent extra time with her, which is awesome. I agree with you to a certain extent. I think that both the package is reasonable for the general population, but if someone who lost a farm or a house or something like that because they couldn't get in to pay their taxes because they left at the last minute, I think that there should be more compensation for those people. It just doesn't make sense to me that everyone would be treated the same when not everyone had the same impact from the game outage. Now, when I look through, they've broken into 2 types of packages: one for patrons, one for non-patrons. And they're both fairly reasonable. The big difference is that the patrons get 5 days of bonus patron time, and they get a few more workers' comp potions, and they get 30 loyalty tokens, which, that's not unreasonable because 15 loyalty tokens buys you 20 tax certificates. So, that's not inconsiderable either, even though it's a couple days I guess it would be 6 days worth of logging in.
Yeah.
And we only lost 3 days. So I think it's reasonable for the general population, but there should be something more for those who had major impacts, lost their farms, etc. And Tryon and XL Games should be able to get that information and offer those people an additional compensation, because there are a lot of angry people. I remember watching those threads, and the update thread got so out of hand, and it got up over 500 pages, not comments, 500 pages of comments. And so they started the new thread and said, we're going to combine the North American and EU servers since they're having the same issues. We'll just have one thread that tells you what's going on. And that was up to 500 pages in a day of comments. So people were upset. There was not a lot of comments saying, yeah, take your time, no worries, we know you're looking after it. In fact, I didn't even see one of those comments.
Yeah, and part of, I guess, when you're dealing with a game like ArcheAge that Tryon is not the actual publisher of, they really are hand-tied by, having, they may have the servers over here, but XL Games is the one that actually, controls the infrastructure of the game and things like that. So it has to be a pain working, overseas and different times and things like that, where trying to get things resolved. So hopefully whatever it was that caused it, which to this day, I think that they really should be more open to say exactly what had happened instead of just saying, well, we found out what the bug was and now we squashed the bug and now everything's okay. Because what's to say it won't happen again?
And we can expect that they're going to deal with it the same way. That's the way they dealt with Aurorian. That's the way they dealt with it this time. I think that's going to be their standard procedure. It's unfortunate because I personally would like to see more of a rollback considered, but they've said there's a technical issue that prevents them from doing a server rollback. So we just kind of got to remember there's a lot of great things about this game, and those great things are why we play it. And we have to accept that things like, the XL Games Tryon relationship and how that may or may not impact fixing problems like this, as well as things like the guild interface, which isn't where it should be. I mean, we need a guild bank. We need a more intricate interface so we can actually take a better advantage of having, our guild members do all this work for us. And remember, take those and go, right, they're problems. Remember the good things. The naval PvP.
Absolutely. And, a lot of those things were brought up before the game was launched, and they said that they would address them. But again, it goes back to the fact that XL Games is the people that make the game. So they're the ones that actually have to input it into the game. And, I've played a few Korean MMOs or a few, MMOs over there, and those things were not as important as they are to North American players. So we'll have to see if they actually put the effort into making those changes so that, it's more that the game caters more to a North American audience in those areas. So
cool. What do we got next?
All right. Black Friday was last Friday, obviously, and there were a bunch of deals on the marketplace. There was just way too much to mention, but the biggest items on there were a brown bear mount for those people that want to ride around on a bear, and a turtle battle pet, and all the summer apparel and things like that were on sale, I guess, for the end of the year. Let's get rid of this stuff, so to speak, if you're thinking like a store where they put all their summer stuff on sale during the winter time. So other than that, that's it for the marketplace stuff and the actual things that have to do with the economy. There's an exploit that I've heard about, haven't seen happen yet, but people say they've taken screenshots where that it will pull you off of your cart or your ship and prevent your cart or ship from being stolen, and you need to keep your owner's mark up. So I'm not really sure how it works. Have any of you guys seen this or know how it works or what the issue with it is, and has it been taken care of?
Absolutely. There's an item in game. I'm not going to say what it is, but there's an item in game you can use to invite someone to dance with you. Okay. And there's a way you can use it to exploit it to tell someone to dance with you. So they have no choice but to dance. And if someone's, and you can even do it from stealth. If someone's driving their tractor along and you use this exploit on them, they step out of their tractor and someone can jump in and take it from them.
Wow. Okay. Sometimes you wonder how these people figure these things out.
Yeah, there's a lot of people with a lot of time on their hands. But the solution is, guys, grievance, not grievance, keep your owner's mark up when you're driving your cart. And you have to keep it up the whole time because these guys can do it from stealth. The only way to deal with it right now is to keep your owner's mark up. So stay safe,
Absolutely.
guys, when you're hauling.
Absolutely. You keep it up, and if they pull you off, obviously you'll be able to get back on your vehicle and be on your merry way. So, yep.
And
Go ahead.
call for help. Call for help from your grievance family when you do get knocked off your cart. Chances are we'll get there for you.
Absolutely. Okay, so there's that with the exploit. In server news, the word on the street is that the Brazilian alliance is not as stable as it once was. SSGT and Lunaticos seems like they're have Rising on their kill list. And what I could gather is that some Rising On members started to attack some SSGT members, and it crumbled from there. There are rumors that they're in talks to try and get everything sorted out. But I think once the cat's out of the bag in that respect, I don't know how long that alliance is going to, quote unquote, stay as solvent as it once was. And I'm not even sure where Phoenix Brigade is in the mix of this. So I guess we'll have to see what happens from this point on when it comes to that.
I think Phoenix Brigade is staying pretty quiet right now. Most of the action seems to be Rising On and SSGT, and I forgot the name of the other guild that's helping Rising On. No, not Lunaticos. Rising On has got a guild working for them. I hate it when it escapes my memory. It'll come back to me in a minute. But
Okay.
This is essentially a mercenary guild that Rising On is hired to help them carry on this battle.
Cool. Well, I had posted on the forums, that it was bound to happen because the alliance wasn't founded on honorable principles. And so therefore, it eventually its members will either start to feel that they're being disenfranchised or they're not getting their fair share of what's going, of the pie, so to speak. So I'm pretty sure that at some point, they're all going to go their own separate ways, and then we'll see what the fallout is from that. I think also what is helping is the fact that the East is actually starting to not so much come back, but to start to show that they are still a force to be contending with in the game.
It's great to see the Reds show up. Even in Hasla, when they roll through and wipe us out right after it switches to Crisis, it's still great to see them back because we need Reds for this game to be healthy.
Absolutely.
And even last week, we had a Halcyon War that had a good Red turnout, and that was fantastic.
Wow, that's awesome. That's good because I think that for the health of the game, we definitely need both factions. Having your own faction and then only worry about purpling up, kind of takes away from the enjoyment of the game. So.
Yeah. And what you mentioned about the Brazilian Alliance getting together, the Council of Elona, I don't have any difficulties with people doing that grouping up. It kind of sucked for us, but they made a huge play in the game, and it was a huge play. It was a server changer.
Yes.
And you said maybe not on the honorable principles. Maybe that's true, but I don't worry about that so much. However, when those 4 guilds are the biggest guilds, it's really hard to keep an alliance together, and I think we're seeing the initial fracturing of it, and we'll see how it turns out. But for us, we're going to focus on our internal grievance stuff, helping out our green faction, helping out our allies, and getting a lot of enjoyment out of the game. Our priorities right now are grouping up, having fun, getting the grievance economy going again, and I am really concerned about getting together on PvP. Everything else is working well and starting out, and the ball is rolling, but PvP hasn't yet. So this weekend is my goal because I've got knee surgery tomorrow, which means my wife is going to let me sit in front of the computer all weekend.
Woohoo!
So you'll be seeing me on a lot.
Good. Go knee surgeries.
I'm taking the pain for the team.
All right, there you go. All right, and let's see. And in other news, on a lighter note, it looks like there may be more fellowship halls going up soon. There's talk of one appearing in Cinderstone. There's one in Dewstone now. along with the ones in Two Crowns, Gweonid, Ynystere, and White Arden. There is a thread on the official ArcheAge forums called the Saphira Fellowship Initiative. It has the locations of all the fellowship plazas on our server. If you want to help out with these places, please post up on the official forums or mail Rubius in game so that this thread can stay near the top. All right, now we're going to get to guild news specifically. As most people know, our ArcheAge chapter had a recent shakeup. Bear stepped down as the leader, and we will miss him greatly. With Bear stepping down, so did most of the officers. We also had a major shakeup in the memberships. We lost around 200 members, but do not fear, ladies and gents. We're going on strong. As you know, our new leader is Spin. Our new XO is Jar. And many others are doing great and have the guild on the right track to have some fun. In a recent interview with Spin and Jar, the focus is to get the guild back on its feet doing what we do best and have honor among family and friends. And from what I understand, Slayers now respect us, and we are now allies with Slayers. And I'll discuss allies with Reds and things like that a little bit later. But we are also on some speaking terms with the members of our former alliance with the BRA. Not really 100% sure exactly going forward how those alliances are going to work because we cleared our KOS list. We no longer have anyone on it, and so it's going to be on a as needed basis, based on our interactions with people. So how exactly are we going to be dealing with the KOS list going forward, Spin?
Well, the KOS list, it's not going to be changed so much as we're just restarting it. And it's going to be the same. Like, we expect to be killed in this game. The game's about killing and being killed. That's a huge part of it. It's not going to change. But what we don't want is we don't want to let people grief us without any response. So if we're being griefed by someone and then we're going to have a response, we're going to try and get there to stop it right away. And on top of that, we're going to have access to our kill on sight list. And it's going to be the same as it's run in the past. It doesn't mean if you see someone who's on the kill on sight list, you don't have to kill them. You just have the option. Obviously, Reds are Reds. But if it's someone green and they're on our kill on sight list, then you have the option of doing it. Now, we still are not going to be, I was going to use a 4-letter word, or I can use a 7-letter word, but instead, I'll just say, we're going to be the good guys. So we're still not going to stab someone in the back when they're half dead from killing a mob. We're still not going to send in a group of 50s to take out level 38, even if they are on our kill on sight list. We really do want to be the white hats when we can, and the kill on sight list is no exception to that. So it's, if you see someone on the kill on sight list, you have the option of killing them, you don't have to. And to get on the kill on sight list, it's people who have been griefing us, people who are damaging the server by using exploits that we find out about, and those are the people who are going to go on kill on sight.
Okay, awesome. Well, I appreciate that answer. All right, so still breathing.
Yes, sir.
We're going to do a quick Q&A with you since you are our new PvE task master. First of all, first question I want to ask you is, what got you into ArcheAge?
ArcheAge, what got me into it was really the dungeons. I heard that they were hard. I loved the WoW back in the day, the hard grinding of the dungeons, learning them. So, Serpentis is really the most magnificent dungeon that I can see, and getting past that would truly be an accomplishment. So that's what led me here.
Oh, cool. All right, and how do you like being a taskmaster?
It's okay for me. I don't feel too much of a change because I've been constantly doing that. I did it when I was 30 in BC. I got so many pieces of mount set gear from there. I can't even tell you how much extra I got, but GHA, it's no different. I recently finished working on my healing. Yes, no more DPS for still breathing. Now I can do DPS and heals.
Awesome. So now when you're online, we basically say we have a healer. Now we just need a tank and DPS.
Exactly, and if there's a healer that wants to run, I can just switch over to my DPS spec. So it works both ways for me.
Awesome. So speaking of dungeons, have you been to Serpentis yet, or so where do you think how long do you think it's going to be before we're actually at a point where we're actually on farm with that?
Unfortunately, I have not been to Serpentis myself. I have Anti-Hero, he's one of my good friends in the guild, and has been researching Serpentis a bit. He says that GHA, unless you're in Celestial gear or higher, you're going to struggle immensely with the dungeon, so I think that we're a ways off still, but we'll definitely get there.
Okay. All right. So even if it's just a point of going in and trying it and see how the mechanics work and things like that. So I think that might be a point, at least for the better geared of us. I still don't even have all my GHA gear. I have 6 pieces of green.
Yeah, you're going to be one of those that I put on my list and take it.
So it's going to be a while before I'm able to go there, but it's something that we can look forward to for sure. All right, and so this is a more personal question. What do you think of our new guild leader, Spin, there?
Well, it's a good Spin here for a minute. Spin is cool. He looks like Adam Sandler. That's his name from Mythbusters, doesn't he? No,
Adam Sandler's the actor.
I like Spin.
Adam. I know him as Adam.
I definitely think that Spin will be what we needed to get Grievance off the ground. It's a good chance. Yeah, Adam Savage, sorry.
Yeah, Adam Savage, there you go.
It's a good change for the guild, and I think that we have a clear direction and we'll go far with our new leadership.
Awesome. All right, and last question, kind of goes without saying, considering what you said, but are you planning on leaving ArcheAge anytime soon?
Am I planning on leaving? I don't know.
For the next flavor of the month that comes up,
Did I get through Serpentis yet? Can anyone pinch me? Pinch me if I've been there. No, I won't leave until, Serpentis is already down. That's my main goal. That's what I'm going to strive for, and I like to be determined to get there. So we'll get there eventually.
Absolutely. And then there's other raid dungeons, too. So then... So Serpentis is not the end-all be-all, but for group content, yes. So there will be raids to do, and we'll need someone to do raids. So you can't leave.
I won't leave, trust me. I have too much fun with you guys in Grievance, and I really appreciate every member of the guild, because when others stepped down, we were right there for each other. We're rebuilding the guild, and I think we're going to go far.
Awesome. Great attitude. All right, so now we've come to the time of the show where I get to run my mouth and for an editorial. And I want to preface it by saying the views and opinions of this editorial are mine and mine alone. Grievance is not responsible for the content of the words that are coming out of my mouth. Heck, I'm barely responsible for what I say. So, Abraham Lincoln once said, the best way to destroy an enemy is to make him your friend. Someone asked the question in chat one day that didn't really get an answer. So I thought about it for a bit and wanted to know the answer for myself. Why would we be friends and ally with the opposite faction or with pirates? What is to be gained by these unholy alliances? Well, the obvious answer usually goes like this. Keep your friends close, but your enemies closer. But we have found that our friends ended up causing us more issues than our enemies have. Even if you have the upper hand, an antagonistic relationship inevitably casts a cloud over you, your team, sapping your energy, slowing progress, and distracting the group members from their goals, as we have seen with when we tried to take the castle and it didn't work out, and we were at war, and it just really totally changed the dynamic of the guild as a whole. Because rivalries can be so destructive, it's not simply enough to ignore, sidestep, or attempt to contain them. Instead, effective leaders turn rivals into collaborators, strengthening their positions, their ability to move normally in hostile areas, and their guilds in the process. Think of these relationships not as chronic illnesses that you have to endure, but the wounds that must be treated in order for you to lead a healthy in-game life. If this were an issue like Horde versus the Alliance and WoW, the answer would be obvious. This game employs the ability to kill your own faction, which adds a whole nother layer of gameplay, which makes any alliance you foster shaky at best. This is where diplomacy becomes so important. Being able to move in areas where you would normally be killed on sight or going to Freeditch, and not having to worry about losing your hard-earned trade packs certainly has its appeal, as well as providing the same for our allies. It's a win-win for all parties involved. So really, the answer to this question really is just another question. Why not? Spin? Closing comments?
Okay. I thought you were going to go a little crazier than that, but maybe you're saving that for the second show.
Absolutely.
For me, what I really want to say at the end is, I have much respect for the past guild leaders in Grievance and the officers and the amount of effort they put into the guild. There's no question about that. I was one of those people that enjoyed being at war because I'm a PvP guy, but we're all past that now. So we just have to leave that behind, and we are where we are, and we're in a good place with the people we have in the guild. We're having fun. We got lots of people in TeamSpeak. We got lots of people online. We get people out for our guild events. We're having fun, grouped together. That's what I want. And we're on the right track, and more people are going to see us having fun. And in the officer meeting last night, the phrase I used was, it's like the field of dreams. You build it and they will come. We're going to be a guild that has fun and looks after each other, and we're going to have lots of people who want that come to join us, and we're going to build the guild back up again so that we can participate in more and more of what this game has to offer us. So everyone, thanks for all your hard work, and thanks for sticking with us, Grievance members. I really appreciate it. And everyone else, we'll see you in the game.
Thanks, guys. Thanks for joining us today on our new ArcheAge cast. We'll have more people on at different times, different opinions, different views, and things like that. But I think this is going to be our basic group for now, and we'll just see how it goes. And we appreciate you guys sticking with us. Anyone that wants to check out the game, more than welcome to go to the forums. And if you want to join us, just sign up there. We just are really looking forward to the future in ArcheAge. So we thank you for joining us today on the Aurorian Age, and you guys have a good night.
And thanks to Chilled Veins, our researcher, who did all the work for us.
Yes, Chilled Veins, yes.
Thank you, Jill.
Night, everyone.
Night.